After my brother, Alex, moved overseas, 3 women who were crushing on him found me to be his stand-in. The high-powered CEO bought me a condo and a car. The arrogant rich girl would sling her arm around me while we sang karaoke and played video games. The cool, elegant academic goddess personally tutored me on my thesis and research. I knew they were only nice to me because of Alex. I never let myself think otherwise, just diligently played my part as the substitute, right up until Alex came back. I took my compensation and vanished without a trace. But then, they regretted it. I was my brother's stand-in. After Alex left the country, the first one to approach me was the CEO, Victoria Sterling. An icy aura radiated from her as she condescended to toss a contract onto the table. Sign it. I'd hate to force you to drop out of college. I agreed. The second was the heiress, Tiffany Reed. She pulled up in a fiery red Lamborghini outside my part-time job and practically dragged me out of the store. She grabbed my chin, staring at my face for a long time before finally saying, "You really look just like your brother." I said, "Are you looking for a stand-in?" She laughed. "Sure, why not?" The third was Dr. Evelyn Hayes. She never explicitly mentioned anything about me being a stand-in. But after Alex left, she started helping me with my papers and research, often getting lost in thought while looking at my face. When people asked how I managed to capture the attention of such an unattainable ice queen, I'd say my looks. My brother's looks, that is. Aside from our identical appearances, my brother and I had almost nothing in common. He was a dynamic go-getter, exuding an air of extraordinary confidence. I, on the other hand, was always more laid back, the kind of guy who could charm the bird from the trees, a bit of a smooth operator with an innocent act. To be a better stand-in, I tried to imitate Alex's mannerisms and speech. They weren't impressed. Victoria Sterling scoffed, calling my imitation clumsy and uninteresting. Tiffany Reed laughed so hard she cried, thanking this budget version of Alex for endless entertainment. Evelyn Hayes quietly observed me for a few seconds, then, with a frown creasing her beautiful brow, called me disgusting. I did some serious soul-searching. The stand-in market was incredibly competitive. If I didn't update my approach, relying solely on this face wouldn't give me much of an edge. I'd already seen guys getting plastic surgery to look like Alex. After a whole night of intense brainstorming, I had an epiphany. They liked Alex and wished he liked them back. But Alex was all about his career, never bothering with romance, not even having female friends. Me? I've been surrounded by girls since I was a kid, always knowing how to make them giggle. I figured they'd probably much prefer to be charmed by their Alex. This is my second year as a stand-in. When Victoria Sterling called, wanted me to come over, I was at Tiffany Reed's place, playing video games with her. "Victoria, where are you?" Tiffany was engrossed in the game, not looking my way. I answered honestly, at a friend's place playing games. Victoria hung up and sent me the address for our meeting. It was a newly opened art gallery. I glanced at the wall clock. Seriously? It was past 10 at night. Who goes to look at art instead of sleeping? That's just plain. A Venmo notification popped up. Venmo, plus $5,000,000. I assent, that's just the kind of thing only a true art aficionado with deep pockets and refined taste would do. Just as I was feeling pleased, Tiffany pulled me over. She leaned on my shoulder, casually asking, "Who called you?" I said, "My dad won 10 grand on a lottery ticket. You want me to come home?" Tiffany clearly didn't buy it, but didn't press. She just dragged me into 3 more rounds of the game before letting go. She wasn't easy to fool. Sure enough, as I was at the door putting on my shoes, she suddenly asked, "Was it Evelyn?" Evelyn and I interacted the most, so it was normal for Tiffany to know. I nodded smoothly. "There's an issue with the lab data." She called me back to fix it. I lied because I was afraid you'd overthink it. A smirk played on her lips. "What's there to lie about? You think I care?" I bit my lip, feigning heartbreak, and whispered, "I'm sorry. It won't happen again." Before she could react, I turned and left. There was only one reason I'd asked her if she wanted me as a stand-in back then. She was stunning, breathtakingly beautiful, especially her eyes. They seemed to hold entire galaxies, confident and dazzling. But honestly, no matter how beautiful, 2 years is about enough to get tired of looking. Besides, things have been really hectic lately. It was fine at first. The 3 of them were considerate, didn't call me too often, and our meetings never exceeded half an hour. Maybe I was too professional at being a stand-in, because lately, they've become increasingly clingy. Plus, with graduation approaching, everything was piling up. Even for a time management guru like myself, it was getting a bit overwhelming. Once this gaming season's over, I'm done playing with Tiffany. The Uber stopped. I paid and got out, spotting Victoria under the dim streetlight, dressed in a sharp business suit, looking impeccably professional. I quickly plastered on a sweet smile, walked towards her and pulled her into a hug, whispering in her ear, "Victoria, darling, I missed you so much. Did you miss me?" She looked down at me, her fingers tracing my features in the air, the usually flawless work machine suddenly showing a flicker of human emotion. She said seriously, very much miss your brother," I silently completed for her. Victoria Sterling, who seemed the most calculating, was actually the easiest to handle. I tightened my arms around her, nuzzling into her embrace. She didn't refuse. I reached for her hand, wanting to interlace our fingers. This time, she pulled away. Dominant female CEOs often have their quirks. Victoria's was well known in her circle, and everyone consciously avoided triggering it. She hated being touched, especially skin-to-skin contact. She always dressed impeccably, covering every inch, and had drawers full of gloves at home. It took me 2 years to get her to allow me to hug her, and even then, only over her clothes. Yet, I'd seen her holding Alex's hand, carefully tending to a wound for him. I bit my lip, obediently taking 2 steps back, and linked her arm through mine, over her sleeve. "Victoria, darling, what made you suddenly want to see an art exhibition?" As usual, she was a woman of few words. She didn't answer my question, simply led me into the gallery. Only then did I get my answer. It turned out Alex had new pieces out. Victoria stared at a painting, lost in thought. So sleepy. I yawned, looking around boredly. It wasn't just this one. Most of the works displayed in the gallery bore Alex's name. Alex had boundless energy. Painting wasn't even a hobby for him. He just casually dabbled when he had free time. So, they weren't very polished, and the quality was questionable. He probably never imagined they'd sell. The buyer was undoubtedly Victoria. I said to Victoria, "If I could paint too, would you buy my work and hang it here?" Her expression was cool. "Don't compare yourself to him." Meaning, I wasn't worthy. I stubbornly pressed on. "It's not a comparison. I just wish someone would be this good to me too. Is that really not okay?" A flicker of annoyance crossed her eyes. She finally tore her gaze from the painting to me, her voice tinged with coldness. "If you don't want to be here, go home." I expertly let my eyes redden. "I'm not trying to be difficult. Get out." As expected, Victoria cut off my half-baked excuse and told me to scram. I scrammed promptly. Too tired. Had class tomorrow. Who was going to stay here with her? Mooning over my brother? Psycho. Venmo. Plus $5,000,000. A rich, foolish CEO. I loved it. After that, neither Victoria nor Tiffany contacted me for a while. I was able to focus on studying with Evelyn, and my grades, predictably, were excellent. After exams, I treated Evelyn to dinner at a rather upscale restaurant. I never, ever expected to run into Tiffany Reed there. Tiffany was with a handsome guy, and they were acting exceptionally close. I seized the opportunity to snap several photos. The gaming season was over, my rank was up, and I was just looking for an excuse to end things with her. And here it was. When I got back, I showed her the photos. She was completely unfazed, lounging lazily on the sofa, her eyes full of a disdainful smile. "You can hang out with Evelyn, so I can't see other people." So she'd seen us. Then why didn't she react? It suddenly dawned on me. She didn't like me. If she didn't care, of course, she wouldn't react. It couldn't be that she was playing hard to get, waiting for me to contact her first, right? As I was pondering this, she stood up, walked over to me, and looked down at me, asking in a rather good mood. "So, in what capacity are you asking me this question?" "As my boyfriend. You like me? Want to be with me?" "Absolutely not." "Someone like her? Fun for a fling? Maybe, but a real relationship would be pure torture." During our relationship, Tiffany wasn't just flirty with me. One second, she'd be crooning love songs to me with deep affection. The next, she'd have her arm around someone else's waist, saying, "You have no idea how much I love you." Her supposed infatuation with Alex was also pretty superficial. She'd call him her unattainable ideal, but she never stopped hooking up with male models. She acted all proper in front of Alex, but behind his back, she partied harder than I did. But I had to admit, she had what it took to make people like her. The Reed family heiress, generous with money, a sweet talker, exceptionally flirtatious. All her ex-boyfriends had good things to say, except me. She always deliberately said hurtful things to see my reaction. No matter what I did, she'd laugh, making me feel less like a stand-in and more like a comedian auditioning for SNL. I thought she just saw me as a pastime, but the tone of her question and a certain inclination it hinted at made me very uneasy. Was this chick actually thinking about making me her boyfriend? My silent resistance made her expression shift. Her smile gradually faded, and she said coldly, "Get out." She stared at me, her expression growing darker, then suddenly burst out laughing. "Just asking. Did you actually consider it?" You're just a stand-in. Don't get any ideas. I let out a sigh of relief. Then, taking the cue, my eyes welled up. You're always like this. Don't I have feelings? Don't I get hurt? Tiffany, I regret it. I shouldn't have gotten involved with you, and I don't want to be a stand-in anymore. Let's not see each other again. With that, I channeled my inner Olympian and sprinted out her house. Afraid I'd burst out laughing if I stayed a second longer. The heiress had her quirks. I had mine. I liked to imagine myself as the tragic hero in a melodrama, pining for unrequited love, and especially relishing the exhilarating moment of delivering the breakup speech after playing the part to perfection. So satisfying. The satisfaction was fleeting. The aftermath was quite troublesome. Tiffany was always the one to initiate breakups. Me beating her to the punch definitely bruised her ego. When she came to my apartment to confront me, Evelyn was there, tutoring me. She was a total overachiever, and she dragged me along with her. Initially, I'd only allowed her to get close so this free, high-level tutor could help me with my coursework. I didn't expect her to be so serious, which made me feel too embarrassed to just slack off. Of course, she wasn't exactly the charitable type. She admired strength and was arrogant. I heard she'd even made her own PhD advisor cry and was incredibly impatient with anyone she considered intellectually inferior. That inferior category included pretty much all ordinary people with average IQs, myself included. The only reason she could tolerate my presence now, praise my talent, and diligently teach me was because of Alex. She didn't want me to embarrass my brother, who was always number one. She certainly was capable. In 2 years, she helped me secure the top spot in my class and even get early admission to a grad program. After explaining a problem, she was staring at my face again, lost in thought. I adjusted my angle to look more like Alex. The gaze on my face was undisguised, a burning intensity that contrasted with her usual cool demeanor. The quiet atmosphere was shattered by a loud banging on the door. I knew instantly it was Tiffany. Evelyn asked who it was. I said it was a neighbor, probably about a badly parked car downstairs. She started to get up, want to go with me. I held her back, absolutely refusing to let her. The moment I opened the door, I saw a furious, scowling Tiffany. She sneered, "Took you long enough to open up. Who's in there? Afraid I'll see." She pushed past me into the apartment, like a wolf patrolling its territory. Just then, Evelyn, hearing the commotion, came out of the bedroom. They locked eyes. Tiffany laughed, a humorless, angry sound. My scalp tingled. I silently took a step back. Evelyn pulled me behind her protectively. "Tiffany Reed, is this how you behave? Trespassing." Tiffany tried to pull me out from behind her. Evelyn grabbed her arm, stopping her. She wrenched Evelyn's hand away, exasperated. "I'm looking for my boyfriend. What's it to you?" Evelyn looked back at me. "You like her?" I instinctively managed a bitter smile. But then I remembered I wasn't a stand-in anymore. I didn't know Tiffany any professional courtesy. I bit my lip and timidly hid further behind Evelyn. "I don't know her. She's lying." Tiffany seethed, her eyes looking a little red. "Chris Morgan, come out here. We need to talk." Being a stand-in wasn't exactly something to be proud of. I was certain she wouldn't dare expose our arrangement in front of Evelyn, who also had a crush on Alex. And Evelyn, being an upright person, had never explicitly asked me to be a stand-in. Our relationship was innocent. Tiffany wouldn't suspect anything between us. So, I said, with righteous indignation, "I have nothing to talk to you about." Then, tugging on Evelyn's sleeve, I deliberately played weak. "Evelyn, she's really scary. Should we call the police?" Tiffany's face turned blacker than the bottom of a pot. She repeated "fine" 3 times. Her dangerous gaze landed on me. "You little charmer, telling me I was your one and only favorite girl, that you only liked me. All lies." Her expression looked like she wanted to kill Evelyn first, then me. I was baffled. "What are you so angry about? Don't you remember your reaction when I said that?" At the time, she doubled over laughing, saying my lines were too outdated. Then she warned me not to say such things again while wearing Alex's face. It was too jarring. Tiffany clearly remembered. There was a moment of awkwardness. I was bold for a second, then shrank back behind Evelyn again. Evelyn seemed quite pleased with my performance, giving my hand a reassuring squeeze. Then she looked directly at Tiffany. "Please leave." At that moment, my phone rang. Both of them looked over. My contact name for Victoria Sterling was just her name. I fumbled, trying to hang up, but accidentally answered. "I'm downstairs from your place. Come out." She hung up. Her voice was quiet, yet deafening. I was caught between 2 women. I felt like I was done for. It wasn't entirely a lost cause. Victoria's voice sounded strange today, very nasal, a bit weary. They probably didn't recognize it. Thank heavens. I glanced at my phone, feigning urgency, and quickly grabbed my bag. The sudden turn of events left both of them stunned. As I was about to leave, Tiffany blocked me. "What are you doing? What's the rush?" I expertly made myself look frantic, pushing her hard. "Get out of my way. My dad has an emergency." Tiffany immediately softened. "Don't cry. I'll go with you." "No, just get out of my way." Tiffany insisted on coming with me. I turned and looked pleadingly at Evelyn. Evelyn looked at me for a few seconds with those cool, clear eyes before finally stepping in and holding Tiffany back. I didn't know if she'd seen Victoria's name on my caller ID, but since she was willing to help me, it meant we could deal with this later. The immediate concern was Victoria, my benefactor, who wasn't actually related to me by blood. I hurried into the car, barely catching my breath, and blurted out, "Victoria, darling, you finally came to see me. I'm so sorry, that day I was." "Sign it." I stopped. Victoria's eyes were closed, her thick, long lashes casting shadows on the faint bluish tinge beneath her lower eyelids. She looked fragile and exhausted. I looked at the contract in her hand. If I signed it, 2 downtown condos and 3 luxury cars under her name would become mine. Besides that, there was a check. Blank. Meaning, fill in whatever amount I wanted. I heard my voice tremble. "Victoria, darling, what's this for? Alex is coming back next month." She looked up at me, her voice devoid of any emotion. "Time to settle up." I kind of wanted to cry. Cry from excitement. I just wasn't used to this kind of thing. I was kidnapped as a child and only found my way back to the Morgan family at 16. I never fit in with the Morgans. I wasn't smart, not as outstanding as my brother. I even embarrassed myself frequently. To win my parents' affection, I poured all my energy into getting into one of the country's top universities. They weren't happy, though, because I got into the easiest major. Meanwhile, Alex not only got in early with a full scholarship, but also aced the SATs and was a National Merit Scholar if he'd bothered to take them casually. Alex excelled at everything he did effortlessly, while I only had a slight edge when it came to dating. Later, I accidentally overheard their plan. They wanted me to marry a woman 10 years my senior, whose looks and character I knew nothing about, for a business alliance. I was so scared, I left the Morgan house that very night. They called me, asking me to come home. After I refused a few times, they didn't insist anymore. Alex was a good guy. When he found out, he had a huge fight with them and came to see me at my tiny apartment. He slipped me a card with money on it, but I didn't use it. Everything comes with a price. A quid pro quo. I didn't dare use it. I desperately wanted money, a home, a small, cozy place where I could relax after work without worrying about being kicked out. I thought it would take me a very long time to achieve this goal. I never expected this. Tears welled up in my eyes as I looked at Victoria. "Is it really? All over?" Victoria didn't speak, as if she couldn't bear to look at me. Or perhaps she was too tired to talk. Actually, I should have put on more of an act, but these things were too tempting. I couldn't resist. I signed it directly, quickly, as if I couldn't wait, as if I'd been waiting for this day all along. Victoria glanced sideways at me. Only then did I sense something was off. She was giving me so much. There had to be a perfect ending to it all. I clutched the contract, the paper wrinkling in my grip. My heart ached. I forced an ugly smile. "After we settle up, are we still friends?" "Victoria, not friends. So, strangers then." Just like a CEO, decisive enough to cut ties completely. I nodded with a bitter smile. "Okay, I understand. I wish you happiness." Perhaps because she was sick, she was even quieter than usual and didn't respond. Or maybe she just couldn't be bothered. Now, I wasn't a stand-in, just an insignificant stranger. She wouldn't say much to a stranger. I opened the car door, took 2 steps, then suddenly wanted to look back at her. The day she'd threatened me with a cigarette between her lips to be Alex's stand-in, she was doing the same now as it ended. After I left, she lit a cigarette, smoking heavily. As if not expecting me to return, she choked on the smoke, covering her mouth and coughing. I leaned through the car window and took the cigarette from her fingers. I broke off a piece and put the remaining half in my pocket. "Smoke less. The smell is awful. Alex doesn't like it." "What about you?" she asked out of the blue. I chuckled lightly. "That's not important. Is it, Ms. Sterling?" The color drained from her face. I never thought I'd use the word wilted to describe her. Her sadness came out of nowhere. The Omi might have wondered what her emotions meant at that moment. Not anymore. Strangers. What was there to say? I didn't go back to my old apartment. Tiffany nearly blew up my phone. After I blocked her, she always found new numbers. It only got quieter after I changed my phone card. My conversations with Evelyn were also carefully measured. The closeness we'd built over 2 years, I pushed it all away with my own hands. She asked if I needed help. I said no. She asked why I knew Victoria. I said it was none of her business. After that, she said nothing more. I started preparing to go abroad. The university had a study abroad program. I'd had to give it up before to save money for a house, But now that I had a place and enough money, I compiled all the necessary documents and submitted them. Unsurprisingly, it was approved. The day I left the country, Alex happened to return. His flight was in the morning. Mine was in the afternoon. But time was tight. I didn't have a chance to see him again. So I stuck to the original plan and had my friend given the card he'd given me. I didn't tell anyone I was leaving. Before boarding, my phone suddenly buzzed with a lot of messages. You went downstairs to meet Victoria Sterling that day? Chris Morgan, where are you? How dare you two-time us? You're dead. It was clearly Tiffany. I was baffled and couldn't help replying, what two-timing? It wasn't like we were in a serious relationship. What was there to be angry about? Her call came immediately. I hung up. She called again. Finally, I threatened her. Call again and you're blocked. What's your relationship with Evelyn and Victoria? No relationship. No relationship? Then why did Victoria say you're a man? I wasn't surprised they knew about my three-timing gig. Alex loved a good party and was popular. His return would definitely involve a big welcome bash. Evelyn and the others were closest to Alex. When the three of them met, it was inevitable someone would let something slip. But Victoria's word surprised me. We'd already settled everything. Why would she still say that? Go ask Victoria. Where are you? I'll come find you. I blocked her directly. Evelyn's chat window, which had been silent for a long time, also filled up with messages. I'm very disappointed. Why didn't you tell me about you and Victoria and Tiffany? Evelyn had helped me a lot. I replied patiently, because you're just like them. You just like seeing me with his face, doing things my brother wouldn't do, enjoying the feeling of being admired and close to him. Since you knew, why did you still get close to me? Not many people have been good to me. You're one of them. After typing that, I laughed at how manipulative it sounded, deleted it, and retyped. It was mutually beneficial, that's all. She didn't reply. No news from Victoria's side, but an alum I knew who worked for her called me. Chris, where are you now? The company's hiring, good pay and benefits. Want to give it a try? Victoria's company was notoriously hard to get into. Even with an internal referral, it wouldn't be my turn. It sounded fake. I politely declined. The alum kept trying to persuade me. I had to interrupt him. Dude, my flight's about to board. Let's talk when I land. The alum paused. Where are you going? Found a job? Out of state. I said something like that. From a global perspective, going international was, in a way, just like moving out of state. I spent a year abroad. The wild, glamorous life I'd imagined never materialized. I was studying until I was seeing stars every day. I dated 2 people. Both wanted to break up the day after we made things official, looking at me strangely. Later, I found out there was a rumor I was the heir to some mysterious Asian dynasty, and whoever dated me would be fed to the sharks the next day. So ridiculous. Yet, everyone firmly believed it. I never felt so defeated in my life. I channeled my frustration into motivation, throwing myself into my studies, and actually won a few pretty prestigious awards. A project required me to return to the States. After some thought, I joined it. It was normal for them to be unable to accept it immediately when they found out I was a stand-in for all 3 of them at the same time. But a year had passed, and Alex had been back in the country all along. No matter how angry they were, they probably didn't have the energy to retaliate against me anymore. After all, they needed to pursue Alex. Getting entangled with me, his stand-in, would look really bad. The day I returned, I headed straight for a bar, planning to find a gorgeous woman and have a few drinks. The drink had just been served when I heard a sinister voice beside me say, Chris Morgan, long time no see. She leaned one hand on the bar, intimately half enveloping me from behind. It was an overly familiar posture. Tiffany Reed was dressed provocatively in a knit dress with a plunging neckline. A slight bend forward would reveal ample cleavage. On her pale, cool-toned wrist was a tattoo I couldn't decipher, adding an intimidating edge to her. I calmly asked the bartender to get her a drink too, raised my glass to her, and took a sip. You here for fun too? I said. She gripped my neck, grinding her teeth. Fun, my ass. Come home with me. I have a score to settle with you. I pushed her hand away, annoyed. Since we're meeting in a bar, why are you pretending to be so devoted? Settle a score? What's there to settle? We're clean. Everything that needed to be said has been said. You're the one who refuses to accept it. Before she could answer, I put down my glass and said with a smile. Besides, even if we take a million steps back, you don't actually think I'm pathetic enough to like someone like you, do you? It was just for fun. Don't take it so seriously. Tiffany clenched her fists, veins bulging, her eyes red. Don't say that. Chris, I was wrong before. I messed with your feelings. Now I just want you to give me a chance. I smiled even wider, whispering in her ear. You don't have a chance. Those 2 years with you, I never once felt a thing. People are really strange. While I was their stand-in, I treated them with sincerity, figured out what they liked, and met their emotional needs. They couldn't have cared less. Once I left and told them the truth, treating them as they had treated me, not only did they not get angry, but they suddenly turned into lovesick puppies, fawning all over me. Evelyn Hayes was also involved in this project, so meeting was inevitable. She had matured a lot, no longer wearing the glasses she used to, making her even more striking and captivating. Previously, when some projects needed funding, our advisors would take their protégés out for drinks. If Evelyn was going, I'd insist on tagging along. Evelyn had a sensitive stomach and was a total lightweight. Some businessmen disliked her ice queen demeanor and loved to get her drunk. I'd run interference for her with the drinks, proactively making toasts, drinking until I could fall asleep in my chair. Eventually, Evelyn's advisors started contacting me directly, bypassing her because a social dinner needed someone like me, good-looking and able to hold their liquor. After I left, I hadn't contacted them. Evelyn must have built up her tolerance. She delivered her pleasantries flawlessly, downing 3 glasses without a change in expression. Good for her. Everyone can survive without anyone else. After a few rounds, the deals were sealed. The bosses, tipsy, rushed off to their next engagement. Evelyn and I were the last ones left. As I was getting up to leave, she suddenly grabbed my arm. I instinctively pulled away. Her lips pressed together, her face pale. She clutched her stomach and looked up at me, her beautiful almond eyes shimmering with unshed tears. The usually unflappable ice queen looked so fragile. Her voice was weak. "Chris, help me for a second." I turned to call her advisor. I'd barely uttered a syllable when she grabbed me again, throwing herself into my arms. She wrapped her arms tightly around my waist, burying her head in my chest, her voice muffled. "Chris, my stomach hurts." For a woman, her arms were like iron bands. I tried pushing her away twice, but couldn't. I'd said, "If your stomach hurts, take some medicine." "Professor Hayes, please have some self-respect." Evelyn chuckled softly. "Can I take that as concern?" I couldn't stand it anymore. "Evelyn, it's been a year. How did your skin get so thick?" "Let go." I really couldn't break free, so I let her lean on me, and I evenly lowered my head, leaning close to her ear. She froze, didn't dodge. I stopped very close to her ear, my voice calm. "Alex wouldn't let you hug him, so you just watch from afar. I don't let you hug me, and you play deaf, pretending you can't hear. Truly, Professor Hayes, your people skills are remarkable. I've learned so much." Evelyn's hands around my waist tightened for a moment, then relaxed. Her face was pale. She said weakly, "That's not what I meant. Evelyn, I only ever saw you as a friend." Her lips thinned, as if she were a little angry. "A friend? Would you hold a friend this tightly to your chest?" I scoffed. "You still want to bring up what happened before." I pushed her away. "You never call me a stand-in, but whether you thought of me as one, you know in your heart. I'm materialistic. I was Victoria's stand-in for the money. With Tiffany, it was because she was gorgeous, knew how to spoil someone, and was good at games. And you?" Cold sweat beaded on her forehead. After meeting my gaze, she looked away as if burned, appearing almost flustered. She cut me off. "Chris, don't say any more. You were the last one to find me. Back then, I made a bet with a friend. If I could win you over, he'd treat me to meals for a month." Evelyn took a deep breath, her hand clutching her stomach even tighter. She closed her eyes, her red lips pressed into a thin, pale line. Her voice was a mere thread. "I understand." After she spoke, she bent over even more, her body trembling. Those cool eyes looked straight at me, with a hint of pleading, as if begging me to stay. Afraid she'd die of pain right there, I called someone from outside to stay with her, then turned and left. There was no bet. I made it up, just to make her give up. Getting involved with her wasn't, because she was a campus celebrity, and being with her gave me status or anything. My mindset back then was bizarre. Being a stand-in for one was the same as for two. Might as well try a few more. It was all a free ride anyway. To get love and affection, I had to scheme and plot and work every angle. Sometimes, I just wanted to be liked for no reason at all. I was being stubborn back then, too naive. The result was predictable. I even regretted it a little. If only I'd just accepted Victoria's offer. She clearly distinguished between me and Alex. After settling things, she truly hadn't pestered me. She even gave me a life-changing opportunity. The money she gave was enough to compensate for my emotional distress. From an outcome perspective, she was a good person, until I walked out of the restaurant and saw a familiar car. The window rolled down, revealing her cool CEO face. Her assistant opened the car door, beaming at me. "Mr. Morgan, Ms. Sterling has been waiting for you for a long time." When I saw the contract in Victoria Sterling's hand, I couldn't help but laugh. This CEO truly had such a commitment to contracts. Everything required one. I asked teasingly, "Sign it? What happens if I don't?" Victoria was even thinner than before and seemed even more devoid of vitality, like a beautiful stone sculpture, betraying no emotional fluctuations. I have nothing I can use to threaten you with. She rubbed her temples, frowning. You've grown up. You're not a child anymore. You have your own career. That day, I shouldn't have let you go. I sat up straight. So, Ms. Sterling regrets it. Yes, she said wearily. To be honest, I was a bit confused about what Victoria really meant now. None of the three were fools. Perhaps when I was a stand-in, they were deceived by me, believing I genuinely loved them. Later, when the three of them met, the truth naturally came out. Tiffany sought me out because she was unwilling to accept defeat. Evelyn was probably attached to the version of me who was good to her. But Victoria? Why? The small fortune she could casually let slip through her fingers was enough for an ordinary person like me to change my destiny and live comfortably for the rest of my life. The stand-in industry was so developed now. I couldn't offer so-called sincerity, nor could I bring myself to be a fawning simp. I had no competitive edge in this line of work anymore. I looked at her, puzzled. Then what does Ms. Sterling mean? Alex is already back in the country. Are you still looking for a stand-in? Not a stand-in. A lover. Not a lover. A secretary? An assistant? No, I didn't consider a friends with benefits situation. She didn't have the capacity for intense physical intimacy. Even holding hands could make her feel sick. I fell silent. Why did you stop guessing? I said, I can't guess. She smiled faintly. Can't guess, or dare not guess. Don't want to guess. I coldly reached for the car door handle. It's been an honor meeting you, Ms. Sterling, but unfortunately, I don't understand what you mean. It's getting dark. I'll be going now. Goodbye. She propped her head on her hand, looking over calmly, not saying a word, yet giving me an ominous feeling. Sure enough, after finishing work, I decided to hit a bar for some fun. The security guards politely escorted me out. The owner himself came out, smiling wryly. This is Ms. Sterling's territory, sorry about that. I didn't believe it and tried several other places, none of which let me in. They were either Victoria's establishments or belonged to her friends. These damn rich people. I was going to fight them. I bought a boba tea and was moodily wandering the streets with a friend when he whispered that a car had been following us. I looked back. It was Victoria's car. Can't shake her. I told my friend to go home first, then strode over and knocked sharply on her car window. Her expression was unruffled. I demanded, Victoria, what are you doing? Don't you like my brother? The person I like is you, Victoria said. I'm pursuing you. I was incredulous. Pursuing me? Are you crazy? Can you just stay away from me? Didn't we already settle everything? What was settled were the mistaken parts. She got out of the car, looking down at me. Her gaze was so intense it made my legs feel a bit weak. She smoothed my wind-tousled hair, her fingers unintentionally brushing my earlobe. I jerked my head away. She withdrew her hand, chuckling softly. You look like you really want to hit me. I glared at her. She leaned down slightly, her head bowed, her expression very devout. Go ahead. Me, wait. What are you doing? It's only been a year. How did you go from ice queen to pervert? But honestly, the suggestion was very tempting. I really wanted to see how a germaphobe would react to being driven crazy. Remembering the suffering I'd endured because of her neat freak, my hand twitched, eager. I tentatively touched her face. She didn't flinch. She leaned closer. Continue. I was stunned. Pervert. I grabbed her hands, pinched her face, areas that were absolute no-go zones before, things that would have infuriated her if I'd accidentally touched them. Now I could touch them freely. She looked at me calmly. I like you. I'm happy when you touch me. Before, I was cowardly and didn't dare admit my feelings, and I made you sad. I'm sorry. She carefully took my hand and pressed it to her cheek. Today was just to get your attention. I won't restrict your freedom anymore. I don't expect your forgiveness. I only hope you can let me watch you from afar like this. My scalp tingled. I was about to say something when I noticed the previously ignored passerby nearby, wearing a helmet and playing on their phone, suddenly take off the helmet, revealing Tiffany Reed's face. Impressive, Ms. Sterling. Your words almost made me cry. I almost thought you weren't the one who threatened Chris's girlfriend overseas to break up with him. Victoria said, expressionless, that wasn't me. Wanting to show Chris the evidence. Tiffany walked over to stand beside me, whispering in my ear, don't believe her. Business types are all sharks. They say one thing, but do another. Victoria's eyes narrowed dangerously. A few days ago, I had tea with your father. He's very troubled by your good-for-nothing ways and asked me to look after you more. It seems Ms. Reed has no intention of improving, even slandering my reputation like this. It appears I'll need to have another chat with your father. Well, Grandma Sterling, you actually realize you and my dad are from the same generation? Where'd you get the nerve to confess to Chris? Tiffany suddenly turned to me. Chris, old women like her, in their 30s, busy with work and social obligations all day. Their shelf life is pretty short. They'll be past their prime before you know it. Unlike me, I'm rich, have free time, and work out regularly. I'm healthy. Don't believe me? Feel me. No, I'm good. Victoria leaned against the car, a cigarette between her fingers, unlit. Ms. Reed is young and impulsive. Has she considered the long term? Your father has found you a decent blind date. Your mother is very pleased with him and hopes you can settle down soon. They won't accept a son-in-law who isn't from your own social circle. And you just fool around all day, with no power to defy your family. If they come looking for trouble with Chris, how would you protect him? Tiffany's face darkened. You don't need to worry about that. They were trading blows, hitting each other where hurt. I was just silently watching the drama unfold. Actually, that stranger I was supposed to have an arranged marriage with, the one 10 years my senior, was Victoria. After I ran away, my parents pressured Alex into getting engaged to Victoria. After they spent some time together, Victoria proposed canceling it due to incompatible personalities. When Alex went abroad, my parents, unwilling to give up the chance of an alliance with Victoria, wanted me to drop out of college and come home. Victoria stopped them. To make my parents give up completely, she signed an agreement with me to pretend to be a couple until Alex returned. If either of us started dating someone else, or if Alex came back, the relationship would end immediately. I only believed about 30% of that. The way she looked at my face, reminiscing about someone else, couldn't be faked. I guess she might have had feelings for Alex, but he didn't like her. After they separated, she conveniently got together with me, pretending to protect me while also doing Alex a favor. Tiffany's situation wasn't as complicated as Victoria's. She didn't try to defend or play her past, instead emphasizing how she'd been celibate the year I was abroad, playing the Reform Party girl card. But what did any of this have to do with me? The more I listened, the more confused I became. Finally, I couldn't hold back anymore and interrupted them. What's the point of you saying all this? They both looked at me. I said, completely bewildered. Even if I were to date someone, it wouldn't be either of you. Tiffany quickly asked why. Because it's disgusting. Their expressions all changed. I said sincerely, I'm not blaming you. Those 2 years I was young and made mistakes. I never loved you. The kindness I showed and the affection I expressed were all an act. If there was something to gain, I could put on a show for a dog. When I say disgusting, it's because I can't stand it when my girlfriend looks at my face and connects me to my brother, even for a second. Not to mention, I've seen your most detestable sides. Unlike you, I can't just forgive and forget everything with a few words. I can't forget. The cigarette Victoria was holding was crushed in her hand. Tiffany lowered her head, her expression unreadable. So, there's no possibility at all? Tiffany asked hoarsely. No. Tiffany still looked unwilling to accept it, her eyes red, her voice unsteady. If I had met you before Alex, would you have? I cut her off. Don't speculate about things that have already happened. Even if you knew the outcome, so what? The current situation won't change. Chris. I glanced at the time and gave them a polite smile. I think I've made myself clear. Let's just end this here. From now on, let's just be ordinary friends. If we can't be friends, that's fine too. Being strangers is pretty good. In short, stop bothering me in the future. I hate it when women keep pestering me after I've clearly rejected them. The rideshare I'd called finally arrived. I declined their offers to drive me home and left alone. Looking out the window at the flickering city lights, I thought I've been so blunt. We probably won't see each other again. I waited anxiously until the project ended. I never saw them again. In situations involving Evelyn, she also suppressed all emotion and kept things strictly professional. I breathed a sigh of relief. The 3-year farce had finally come to an end. So be it. It was good. Peace and quiet is the true reality. After the project ended, I continued my studies overseas. Due to an issue with my landlord, I had to find a new place. A spacious apartment in a building with only 2 units per floor. About a month after I moved, a few more people moved into the building. Being abroad, one had to be cautious. I had no intention of interacting with my new neighbors. Until I was in the elevator and saw Victoria Sterling, Tiffany Reed, and Evelyn Hayes. I froze. Tiffany was the first to speak, her eyes lighting up. Hi, I'm a new neighbor. My name is Chloe Davis. If you have any trouble, feel free to find me. Evelyn said calmly, long time no see, Chris. Remember me? I'm Rachel Miles. Rachel Miles was an upperclassman I didn't know very well. I stiffly turned my gaze to Victoria. She gave me a slight nod, very coolly and pretentiously saying, Laura Vance. Chloe Davis, Rachel Miles, Laura Vance. Tiffany Reed, Evelyn Hayes, Victoria Sterling. I didn't get in. I silently closed the elevator doors. Talk about brilliant interpretation. I said I wouldn't date them, so they pretended to be other people. My premonition was wrong. They hadn't given up. They were just regrouping for another offensive. This chaotic circus was still ongoing. The end.